When sunrise breaks over the rolling hills of West Texas, Arthur Vance steps out onto soil, his grandfather cleared by hand back in 1948. For generations, this dirt was our promise, a living heritage forged in sweat, pride, and family devotion. But last Tuesday at dawn, that peace was shattered. Arthur walked out to find 3-foot-deep trenches tearing through his cornfield, expensive irrigation lines chewed to ribbons, and his perimeter fence collapsed like matchsticks. It felt like a direct violation of everything his family built. Feral swine are no longer just a distant threat in the woods. They are pushing straight into our yards and destroying our legacy overnight. We cannot fight this invasion with raw anger or reckless haste. We must take back control with patience and proven wisdom. Before we dive into the exact strategies to protect your land and restore balance, hit that subscribe button and join our community of dedicated stewards, protecting American soil for generations to come. To understand why these destructive creatures are taking over so much of our countryside, we have to look closely at what we are truly up against. Scientists call feral swine a slow-motion ecological train wreck, and honestly, there is no better way to describe it. Across the United States, these animals cause well over $1.5 billion in damage every single year. They destroy valuable crops, tear up fragile topsoil, ruin freshwater streams, and push out native wildlife that has lived on this land for centuries. Where are you watching this video from? Please tell us your country or city in the comments and let's explore together. What makes this enemy so dangerous is not just their appetite, but their biology. They are not simply farm pigs that got loose from a broken pen, nor are they just wild creatures from the deep woods. They are a hybrid mix of European wild boars, brought over for sport, and escaped domestic swine. This genetic blend created a perfect survival machine. They possess the raw aggression and toughness of a wild boar combined with the high reproductive capacity of farm hogs. Their sense of smell is unbelievable, easily outperforming trained tracking dogs. They can catch the faint scent of food or human presence from miles away downwind, making them nearly impossible to surprise. On top of that, their breeding speed is downright terrifying. A young sow can become pregnant at just 6 months old and produce 2 litters every single year, with 4 to 8 piglets in every batch. If you do the math, a small family unit can multiply into a massive horde in a remarkably short amount of time. Yet the biggest mistake landowners make is treating them like ordinary game animals. For decades, folks have grabbed their rifles, loaded up their trucks, and headed out into the timber, thinking a weekend hunting trip would solve the problem. Others put out a few small box traps near the tree line, hoping for an easy catch. But here is the hard truth that every experienced farmer eventually learns. Those traditional methods often make the situation much worse. Feral hogs are extremely sharp. When you step into the woods and fire a single shot, even if you manage to drop one hog, the rest of the sounder scatters into the dark brush. That single gunshot does not scare them away for good. It educates them. You just taught the survivors that humans equal danger, that daytime is unsafe, and that strange metal boxes on their trails mean death. Within 48 hours, that entire herd adapts. They abandon their daytime habits, shift completely to late-night feeding under the cover of pitch darkness, and learn to bypass standard traps with incredible caution. An educated sounder is a landowner's worst nightmare. They become ghost-like phantoms that vanish into the dense thickets during daylight and come out only when the stars are high, tearing through your fields while you sleep. They teach their piglets to fear human scent and avoid anything that looks artificial. By chasing them with dogs or firing loose shots across the field, you are not eradicating the problem. You are simply training a smarter, more elusive enemy. To protect our dirt, our property, and the legacy left behind by our families, we have to stop reacting with impulse. Fighting a brilliant, highly adaptable opponent requires us to set aside short-term anger and step up our game. It takes a strategic mindset, modern technology, and above all, deep patience to outsmart an animal that has turned survival into an art form. When you realize what kind of sharp, hyper-aware adversary you are dealing with, your entire approach to managing your property has to change. The old urge to rush out there with gear and set a heavy trap the very night you spot fresh damage will only work against you. On the land, there is an unwritten rule that old-timers know by heart: slow is fast. If you want to eliminate the problem permanently, you have to master the art of patience. And that journey begins with a crucial technique known as pre-baiting. The fundamental goal of pre-baiting is to reshape the psychology of the sounder. You are not trying to trap them on day 1 or even on day 7. Instead, you are turning a specific pocket of your woods into what feels like the safest kitchen on earth. You want every single pig, from the oldest matriarch down to the smallest piglet, to let their guard down completely. To do that, you need to execute every step with extreme discipline, starting with scent control. Because feral hogs have a sense of smell that puts most hunting hounds to shame, your human footprint is your biggest enemy. Every time you walk up to a bait site wearing your everyday work boots or bare hands, you leave behind an invisible warning sign that says danger. Experienced stewards always wear clean rubber boots and specialized gloves whenever they step into the drop zone. You step light, you drop the bait, and you leave without disturbing a single branch unnecessary. Choosing the right bait is just as critical as hiding your scent. If you throw out standard dry corn, you will attract every deer, turkey, raccoon, and squirrel in the county. That creates 2 big problems. First, non-target wildlife will eat up all your bait before the pigs even arrive. Second, you run the risk of disrupting local wildlife you actually want to protect. That is where sour corn comes into play. Making sour corn is an old farmer trick that works like magic. You take 5-gallon buckets of dry corn, fill them with water, add a little sugar or yeast, and let them sit sealed under the hot summer sun for several days. As it ferments, it develops a sharp, pungent, sour odor that carries for hundreds of yards through the timber. To a deer or a wild turkey, that sour smell is completely unappetizing, so they walk right past it. But to a feral hog, that fermented aroma is like a dinner bell calling them from miles away. Once you have established that sour bait, the next phase is creating a rigid routine using automated, timed feeders. Hanging a simple spin feeder programmed to sling corn at the exact same hour every evening, say precisely 8 o'clock at night, changes everything. When that mechanical spinner goes off in the quiet woods, it produces a distinct metallic sound that echoes across the creek bottoms. At first, the sounder might watch from a safe distance in the dark brush, sniffing the air with deep suspicion. But after 3 or 4 nights of hearing that same sound followed by a pile of free, undisturbed food, their natural caution dissolves. That mechanical spin becomes their dinner bell. They stop wandering aimlessly across your pastures, tearing up random acres of sod. Instead, their brain attaches to a predictable pattern. They gather in the thickets nearby at 7:30 p.m., waiting eagerly for the feeder to sling corn. By taking 2 full weeks to build this habit, you completely flip the dynamic. You are no longer chasing ghost-like phantoms through thick woods at 2 in the morning, guessing where they might strike next. You have quietly trained the entire sounder to walk right up to your chosen spot on your schedule, completely convinced that they are in control, while in reality, you are holding all the cards. Once you have the sounder visiting your bait site on a regular schedule, the next step is gaining complete visibility over their behavior without physically stepping foot in the woods. This is where modern technology becomes an invaluable asset for any conscientious land manager. Integrating high-definition cellular trail cameras into your strategy is not about abandoning traditional woodsmanship. It is about enhancing your ability to make informed decisions. In the past, checking trail cameras meant physically walking out to the site, pulling SD cards, and leaving behind human scent that would spook the herd for days. Today, advanced 4G cellular cameras with ultra-high-resolution sensors act as silent, sleepless guardians strapped to the oak trees. The moment movement occurs in the dead of night, crisp images and video clips land instantly on your smartphone screen while you sit comfortably on your front porch. You get a clear window into their world in real time, completely invisible to the sounder. This stream of real-time data shifts your approach from guesswork to precise management. When those night vision images roll in, you are not just looking at wild animals, you are conducting a detailed head count. How many mature sows are leading the group? Are there young boars present? How many newly born piglets are running along behind them? How many total hogs are in this specific sounder? Have you ever had to deal with invasive wildlife tearing up your pastures or garden? And what method worked best for you? Let us know in the comments below. Answering these questions accurately is essential. If your camera reveals 12 hogs in the area, but only 8 show up at the feeder each night, your mission is not complete. Dropping a trap too early means capturing 8 while leaving 4 behind. And those remaining 4 will immediately become educated, trap-shy survivors. You stay in the pre-baiting phase until your camera logs confirm that 100% of the sounder is entering the bait area together, eating calmly, and displaying zero fear. Now, many landowners pause when they look at the financial side of equipping their property with modern monitoring gear and remote trapping systems. A top-tier cellular camera setup combined with a heavy-duty remote closure gate represents a real investment, often ranging between $2,000 and $5,000. For anyone working hard to keep a family farm running smoothly, that is a meaningful sum of money that deserves careful thought. However, when you weigh that upfront expense against the true cost of unmanaged feral hog damage, the math becomes exceptionally clear. A single sounder can destroy tens of thousands of dollars worth of cash crops in a matter of days. A deep trench hidden in high grass can snap an axle on a $50,000 tractor or ruin an expensive combine header during harvest season. When you factor in continuous fence repairs, ruined hay meadows, and contaminated water sources, $5,000 turns out to be a small price to pay for long-term protection. Viewing modern equipment as a long-term capital investment, rather than an extra expense, changes your whole perspective. The hardware pays for itself quickly by preventing devastating operational losses, giving you total control over your acreage, and bringing real peace of mind back to your family heritage. With accurate data in your hand, and the entire sounder standing under the camera lens night after night, you are finally ready to execute the final, decisive phase of the plan. With all your camera data aligned, and the sounder entering the bait area with complete confidence every night, you reach the single most critical moment of the entire process. This is where the difference between casual hunting and true land stewardship becomes perfectly clear. In the world of feral swine management, there is one golden rule that overrides everything else: whole sounder removal. If your cellular camera counts 14 hogs in a herd and you trigger a trap that captures 13, you have not won 90% of the battle, you have actually lost the long game. That single pregnant sow that escapes into the brush will carry the memory of that night forever. Within 12 to 18 months, her offspring will completely restore the local population, but this time they will be twice as cautious, strictly nocturnal, and virtually impossible to lure into a trap again. To solve the problem permanently, every single member of that sounder must cross the threshold together. Achieving total capture requires the right infrastructure, and that starts with the design of your trap enclosure. Experienced landowners stay far away from traditional small box traps or square pens. When hogs panic inside a square enclosure, they rush into the corners, stack up on top of one another, and use each other's backs as stepping ladders to vault over 6-foot cattle panels. Instead, professional stewards build large, circular corral traps. A round design eliminates dead corners entirely. When animals inside move around, they flow along the smooth, curved walls rather than piling up in a corner. The panels must be constructed from heavy-gauge steel fencing, secured with thick T-posts driven deep into the soil. The enclosure needs to feel open, spacious, and non-threatening so the lead sow leads her entire family inside without hesitation. The gate mechanism itself relies on remote precision technology, such as the MINE trap system. Rather than using tripwires that a single eager piglet might trigger prematurely while the rest of the sounder stays outside, a remote system puts total control in your hands. You sit comfortably inside your home, watching a crystal-clear live video feed on your phone. You wait patiently as the lead sow enters, followed by the yearlings, and finally the timid youngsters lagging behind. You count every head against your log data. Only when the final snout crosses the entry line do you tap your screen. In a fraction of a second, the heavy overhead drop gate releases, slamming securely into place. The entire sounder is captured in one clean, decisive moment. Once the gate falls, your duty as a responsible land manager shifts toward ethical practice and biological safety. Handling captured wildlife demands dignity, speed, and strict adherence to law. Elimination should be carried out swiftly and humanely to minimize distress for the animals involved. Furthermore, state and federal agricultural agencies, including the USDA, enforce strict biosafety regulations for very important reasons. Feral swine carry dangerous infectious diseases like brucellosis and pseudorabies, which pose severe risks to domestic livestock, working farm dogs, and even human health. Transporting live feral hogs across property lines or state borders is strictly illegal in many jurisdictions because it risks spreading these devastating pathogens to healthy swine farms down the road. Responsible landowners work hand in hand with local wildlife officials, following state guidelines for proper disposal and disease monitoring. Taking care of your land means doing things the right way from start to finish, upholding legal standards, protecting neighboring farms, and fulfilling your duty as a true guardian of the countryside. As twilight settles over the quiet fields and laughter echoes from the porch, true peace finally returns to the homestead. Protecting this land taught us that real strength lies not in reckless anger, but in patience, wisdom, and quiet dedication. Every acre we safeguard today is a living promise to the ones coming after us. It is a reminder that we are merely caretakers of a legacy meant to outlast our time. If this journey resonated with your heart, please drop a comment below to share your thoughts. Hit that like button and subscribe to stand with us. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.